We call it contextual pricing. And the idea here is that, one thing is setting up prices and making the price lists available. Another thing is when to actually activate these prices for a customer. And that's what contextual pricing is all about. It is about, based on what the customer sees and does, activate automatically a set of prices. You set it and you forget it. That's the idea. So how does it work? Well, we essentially attach rules to the price groups that you saw before, which will pick them out of the crowd based on the context of the customer. And with this release of Ucommerce, we're shipping one rule and the engine itself. So the one rule we ship is time-based pricing, which is, just a place to get started. What you can do here is you can attach to a price group an interval that this price group should be active for. And then once that's done, it deactivates and disappears from the world. It can be used for a couple of pretty useful scenarios. In B2C, for example, you can prepare seasonal pricing in advance, right? So you can go ahead and prepare your fall pricing during the summer so it's ready to kick in. Or if you turn back to the scenario of B2B customer pre-negotiated prices, you can imagine a scenario where you have a pre-negotiated price deal for a certain set of products in current fiscal year. And then, nearing the end of the term for that particular deal, you negotiate a new deal and you need that to kick in, at the end of the original one. So how would that look? Well, it would look a little something like this. So I'll actually go back to the price groups that we had before. So remember my account X and Y, right? So I want to take my account X here and I want to prepare the next year's price list. So what I can do is I can navigate in here and I'll just rename this one so it becomes a little more clear what I'm doing. So I'll call this fiscal year 24. And I'll see if I can do an actual parentheses here. There we go. Okay. So I just changed the name, so that's not quite enough, right? I also need to make sure that it kicks in at the appropriate times. This one is active currently, right? So I want to make sure that I add a criteria here, which is time-based. So I'm going to pick the default time-based criterion, and I'm going to activate it. Now, I activate it from today because it is already going, right? And I just, see if I can do it right. Here, there, and we navigate to December, like that, and we apply, like that. Right? So now my account X price list is active until the end of December. That's it. You can see how I can pick a time too if you want to be very specific about it. But for the intents and purposes of what we're doing here, doesn't matter. Now I need to prepare my second price list for this particular account. And of course I go back to my base price group and I create another derived list here, which will be account X. And it will be fiscal year 25. Sorry about that. No tax rate, and we'll create that. And like before, I'll go in and I'll hit the criteria here, and I'll add a time-based criterion with a period that goes from January instead of September. So it can take over from the fiscal year 24 list, and it'll go to let's just say the end of the year, right? Here we go. Done. And that's it, right? So I can go back to the list and basically I now have those two pre-negotiated price lists for my account, one for the current year and one for the next year. You don't have to be up in the middle of the night as a chump to enable it or anything like that. It just works. It kicks in when you want it to. So it's pretty convenient. And of course you can do it for all your accounts year over year if you want to. So pretty convenient way to work with it. Now, there's only that one rule out of the box to begin with, but as you can see, we've laid out the foundations to do even more. So you can add multiple rules if you want. So you could have multiple time-based triggers, right? So you can have a price list that activates in January, then skips February and activates again in March if you want to. You can also have different types of rules combined if you want to. With these contextual price groups and of course derived price groups to create those hierarchies of price lists for market specification or business to business pricing or whatever makes sense for you.